And for episode 8, I am going to start the show, not with my usual Rupert Kemeys, but I'm going to come in with a thank you, mate. No, 8 episodes. 8 episodes, season 1.
Yeah,
we've made it. We've drunk some great beers.
Outstanding beer.
Gosh, we've drunk some great beers. And I'm sure that we'll give a little shout out at the end of the show to those great beers. But, as with every show, Rupert, what are we drinking today, mate?
We're actually drinking a lovely drop from the Sprig Fern.
The Sprig Fern?
My favourite pub to go to, down in Petone there in Wellington. It's absolutely beautiful.
I think we've got a Pilsner situation
We've got
going
a Pilsner and a Pale Ale. So
And
they're
they-
sponsoring the show today. And,
Sponsoring the show today. And
you want one of these?
Oh, I would love one of those. I think I'll go with one of those. I think we've got the Pilsner and maybe an APA. Did we go for the APA?
No, we're for Pale Ale.
Oh, we went for the Pale Ale. So it's a Pale Ale and a Pilsner. And the Sprig Fern, of course. What a bar. What a bar.
Yeah.
And, we've got a little bit of... We've got a bit of early spillage on the table, but there you go, mate. That's great. Get into that.
Do you want to hold the
Do you want me
glass?
to... I'll tell you what I can do. I can assist.
Yeah.
There you go. Get a little bit
big
of...
beers, these ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And you know what we're dealing with here is the classic Kiwi flagon, I think. If correct me if I'm wrong. We're going with the
glass there, and
the classic. I'll pass that one to your partner. There you go. How about a crook on that? There you go. Get in there. And if anything, we should almost be celebrating today, Rupert, because whilst distribution of this will come out at a later time, today is the first day of a new New Zealand government.
Well, no, that was a week ago.
Well, it's a week ago. Yeah. That's why I said it. You know, because are we filming live or are we filming?
Cut it. Do it again.
Cut again. And one of the things that we should be celebrating about today, obviously, Rupert, is the fact we now have a government after last week's huge announcement.
Oh, it's crazy.
Winnie blue, Winnie red. What will he do? And
he went red.
He went red.
Oh.
He went red. So, hey, congratulations and
Yeah.
cheers to not only 8 episodes, but also to living in a new government society. Fantastic.
Oh, that beer is good.
I'll tell you what, that goes down.
They actually brew that themselves at Sprig Fern as well.
You kidding? Get out of town.
They do.
Really?
Yeah.
They also do a great pizza. I'm not going to lie,
pizza,
a great
yeah.
pizza. My special favourite is
Just
pizza
down
of
there
the
in
month.
Jackson Street. You go down there. Service is great. It's a great pub.
Just down the end of, of Jackson Street, just down from our offices actually. And I tell you what, you go in there. Hey, maybe you'll see us around. Guys from the Friday Shout.
Yeah.
B-grade celebrities that we are now. Gosh, it's been a great season. Hey, we'll go back to that later on. I want to come back to what I was talking about before. Yes, we've got a new government. And,
We do, yeah.
I don't know if you like to troll on the old Facebook, a little bit of the old social media, mate. I myself,
yeah.
There has been some comments.
Yeah.
There has been some
Their
comments.
property investors forum. Hilarious.
Well, this is great because it does, obviously add to the value that if you are interested in investing in property, there are some groups. Go on Facebook, join some groups, and yes, Rupert, there is a group, and it is called the New Zealand Property Investors Group, I think. And my golly gosh, there have been some comments in terms of what's going to happen to the market.
They are not happy.
Not happy at all. Majority as well. Yeah, well, you've got to take everything, I suppose, with a grain of salt. But it has been obviously during the mid-season, we did an episode on, what could happen, and we explored some of the policies around housing. I'm interested to know your take. Okay, let's start with New Zealand First, Labour, Greens. They've all got probably a similar outlook. Maybe, New Zealand First and Labour a bit different. We'll talk about capital gains later on. But what do you think is going to happen in the short term? What are we looking here? What's going to happen? The big question.
Oh, that's a big question.
It's a big question. I'm going to put the pressure on your shoulders to start off.
You actually told me before about the headlines that came out in the papers.
That's right. I was talking about the headlines and stuff. Run an article last week, and you did right, and you brought this up, and the article was with Labour in the picture.
Yep.
The housing party is over.
Oh wow.
Now, that came out a week ago,
yeah.
article, look, and as we did some research for the show. But with Labour in the picture now, and this was early on when they were talking about the coalition talks between Winston and Jacinda and Labour and New Zealand First, the party's over. What's your take on that? What does that mean? What are they referring to there? I mean, is the party over, or is it over for just
I'll say this with all due respect to Aucklanders.
Thank you very much.
Because there's
I'm actually from Auckland, born.
There's obviously some Aucklanders watching, but the party is probably bloody over there, that's for sure. The market's been sliding back for about 4 to 5 months now.
You're talking about a market where sales volume has come down,
and
prices
and
come
National
down.
is a notorious lover of Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do pour a lot of money in there. So it's probably correct coming from there. It's just like all journalism these days in New Zealand, it's all relating to Auckland.
Yeah.
Especially the property commentary.
Yeah, for sure.
But in terms of the party being over for New Zealand, I mean, yeah, sort of over. It's probably going to go flatline a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not going to get...
In terms of volume, in terms of turnover, in terms of
probably
price?
sale prices.
Sale prices.
So the volume's probably going to go through the roof in a little bit, but we can talk about that later anyway.
For sure.
But you look at, the sale prices, they're probably not going to be fantastic around New Zealand, but at the same time, Wellington, Christchurch, the rest of the country, bar Auckland... Holy shit, we're in for a bloody good time.
I'm interested in that as well because you've done some study around governments as well. When we're talking about if we were to rewind maybe over the last 27 years.
Yeah.
You had the Bolger government. National did their 9-year turn from 1990 to 99.
Yep.
And after that, the Michael Cullen, Clark and Co.
Yep.
They came
not
in.
Not to be mixed up with Cummings and Kilgariff and Co.
Well, exactly. No, not to be mixed with that at all.
Yeah.
Came in the early 2000s, only to be taken out by Team JK 2009. And interestingly enough, as well, when you look at those periods, and even going back to the Longy government of I think it was 84 to 90 around there. You were saying to me before, and you were saying it's interesting when those years happened. What were those years where we saw significant growth in terms of that the property market side of things?
Yeah, well, every government there, it's quite interesting. The last three governments, remember me and you were talking about this 6 months ago, and I said there's this definite change coming up because no one's ever done a fourth term. If you look back over the past three governments, have all been 3 terms. So, history speaks for itself. But if you look around, the first thing that I researched as well, Chip, was the average monthly new building consents.
Okay,
over those 3 terms.
Yeah.
So you look back to the first one. Who was the...
So if we were going for the Bolger government in the early 90s?
Yeah,
1990, national. Yes,
National. So they did 197,000.
Yeah.
And 79.
Okay.
New building consents over that time.
Stat. Yeah.
Great stat.
New building consents
in
terms of they're giving out
new consents for new homes. Okay, because obviously everyone's here going, oh well, National pushes business,
big
they
create
the booms,
exactly,
all that kind of stuff.
Big policy, housing.
And then
policy.
You're looking at Labor from 99 to 2008. They did 226,042 building consents.
So that's a big increase.
That's 30,000 increase.
That's a big, and that's over their 9-year term. The 3 terms, 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then you look at the last absolute crazy boom, and then everyone's saying that the market's going to crash and everything's going to turn to absolute custard in the whole of New Zealand.
Yeah.
They did 182,000.
National. This is national. Did 182,000. So since JK and his men got in, once again they've gone down on building consents.
Well, Labor absolutely smashed them, and I'm not here to say that National or Labor's a better government. Yeah. We're only here to talk about the property. Okay?
Because the other thing that you said to me the other day as well is that the home ownership rate is the lowest it's been in 66 years.
Yeah, it's ridiculously low. So the lowest amount of people percentage-wise own homes in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing that Winston Peters was talking about in his speech last week, but we won't go there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a crazy amount of people... so it's down.
Do you think? Okay, so I mean, look, and what does it mean for? I mean, we've talked about region, obviously, and I like your comments on Auckland because let's just talk a little bit about Auckland for a second. There's a huge amount of influence that Auckland, in terms of a media perception, and what you say in terms of the government. Yeah, we're talking about a metropolitan city that I would say a lot of the the society of New Zealand would interpret to be the main hub. If something happens to Auckland, it happens to the rest of us.
Well, I was actually talking, reminds me of a story today, actually, Chip. I was talking to my good mate up in Auckland. He's gym instructor up there.
Gotcha.
I'm doing a bit of training up there.
A PT?
Yeah, he was actually telling me that every second car now that you see, it wouldn't be every second car, but Maserati, Porsche, Ferrari.
In Auckland. This is in Auckland.
And then I was actually on the phone to him down in Wellington. Yeah. And I was looking around and I was looking and going, I can't see a car here over $30,000.
Yeah, for sure.
And there was about 100.
Yeah, okay.
So the distribution of wealth throughout New Zealand is ridiculously out of proportion. Yeah. In terms of what it should be. Yeah. And this is why I think the people have voted, and this is why the election's gone. I'm not saying I like it or dislike it. Yeah. But that's why it's gone.
But it's a good comment that you make because we're talking about distribution of wealth. Winston Peters last week talked about distribution of wealth, and that was one of the major basis of his speech before he led it up to that announcement. Capitalism. He was talking about capitalism. So what are you saying is that, if you look at Auckland, is Auckland the foundation for, what happens to Auckland if it crashes? Is that going to mean
it
that
won't
there's going to
crash? It's never gone through a massive period of crash, but
Yeah.
you can see it going backwards. Ollie
Yeah.
Newland's a great speaker there.
Ollie Newland's big shout out. Hey, I tell you what as well over the season, we've been a little gentle on Ollie.
He called it, and
He did, yep.
yeah, he's good, but he's obviously just kind of looking at just Auckland, not New Zealand. But it's going to happen. Auckland's going to drop down. You're talking about 5-10%. What they do is the old bloody houses went up 40-50% over the last couple of years. So it's just going to happen there. It's going to recorrect itself a little bit. You're not going to see your doom and gloom days, as everyone says, but at the same time, you're going to be riding out over 5 to 6 years.
In Auckland?
Yeah, in Auckland.
Where's the opportunity going to do? Just in all honesty, where do you think the opportunity would exist now? If I'm a business person, if I've got a long-term portfolio, do I keep buying property or do I stop buying property?
Well, you even want to hold. If you've got some good buys in Auckland, I mean, hey, like at the end of the day, don't sell them up for a massive loss because it's not going to be all doom and gloom and we're going to end the economy tomorrow.
Well, hey, I tell you what, you go on Facebook, some people think that it's, the day of reckoning is coming, repent now.
But you probably want to rewind to episode 2, 3 and go on the same returns.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great opportunity over the next 2 to 3 years in Auckland to pick up some of those yield properties that people have been absolutely, just going all over the top trying to buy them at 2 to 3% yields. Try to get your 6 and 7% yields back, will be fine. So a lot of opportunity to be in Auckland.
Yeah.
But a lot of opportunity all around New Zealand there, Chip.
Exactly.
To be picking up these bargains. But at the same time, I think you're going to find a far better market when you're looking at capital gains all throughout New Zealand rather than Auckland.
Okay. And where would that market be?
Oh, Wellington, Christchurch, all through the regions.
Still development. I mean, like if you look at what's happening in Wellington, there's a lot of development going on. Christchurch, obviously, following the earthquake, there's still a lot of development and a lot of need for development for that city as well, even 5 to 6 years. Rupert, great chat. Just want to come quickly back to the beer before we get into Christchurch. I want to talk a little bit about Christchurch. How you feeling? Sprig and Fern.
Great job. It's like being at the pub but at my house at the same time.
Well, and if you did ever want to get down to a good old-fashioned pub with a great Republican and enjoy some time in the sun, get down to the old Sprig and Fern. Hey, before we were talking about Christchurch and we were talking about there's a lot of development that's going in, I suppose the big thing is what I wanted to talk to you about was when was the last boom? There's a lot of talk around, or when was the last national boom, so to speak?
Well, the national boom was last year. I mean, if you're looking at Auckland, it was last year, but it's still going in Wellington a little bit. Kind of shuddering a little bit. We'll see what happens after the elections. Yeah. It was all kind of tapered off. But, so it was from, 2014 to 2017. Yeah, so you would say that in that time, national has gone. But historically, in terms of like where we're going now... Is there going to be another boom, or is there? I mean, what's going to happen? I suppose that's a good question. I'll probably respond to that. There, Chip, is that cause it's quite funny because the way that people saw the election as well, and they go, Labor's in now. Yeah, nothing's ever going to happen. Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying that it's good or bad. Great point. But they're going, it's never going to be a good economy again. And if you look back on the last government, National. Yes. All right? Yes. Came in the absolute recession in 2008. Well, they spent a lot of time talking about when they took over that government, they had to start from scratch and build again. National does historically come in at an absolute low point, so we take that, they're very good at dragging us out of the absolute after the 89 collapse as well. Bolger got in 1990, they did the same thing. Yeah, so anyway, they went from 14 to 17, boom. Okay, then you look at Labour, they came in 99, yes. Crashes around 96, 97, yes. A little bit of panic there. 2001 to 2008, 7 years of a boom, fantastic. Labour. National before that, 1990 to 1999. Yep. Okay. Massive boom leading up to 96. So 90 to 96 was ridiculous. 90 was bad because you had the 88 crash. They came out of it. 88 crash. Sorry, I said 89 before. Governments don't create the booms as much as everyone wants them to be like. National's the best at booms. Labour's the best at booms. There's no... It's just a stupid concept. It's called the economy. If you want to learn about it, go to economics class at university, work your way backwards. Work your way backwards. Work your way backwards. But you're highlighting some very, very good points there. And what a lot of people talk about is they say, National created this boom. Labour created this boom. Well, this created this boom. And what you're trying to say here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not necessarily the government that controls the boom. It's the situation that occurs after the government. Oh, I have to admit, though, National is very, very, very good. Yes. When it's a bad time, dragging us out of bad times. Okay, so when it's a bad time, historically, National has been... And Labour is very good at coming in at the end of good times. Yes. Okay, and really getting in there and doing some stuff. Because if we're talking about, again, housing policy, and let's drag it down to Wellington now, like the influence that a new government has in terms of change means more jobs,
because they're going to pick their teams, aren't they?
Well, I know that Labor wants to clamp down on immigration
for sure.
But when you're looking at immigration into Wellington, it's pretty much just like everybody comes straight in because there's so many government jobs that happen.
Yeah.
The one thing I do like as a Wellingtonian compared to an Aucklander is the amount of money that's spent in Wellington when there's a Labor government. I absolutely love my city, which is Wellington, Chip.
Yes.
And I do love a Labor government that spends money in Wellington. I haven't been too impressed, this is personally, on the national government spending absolutely, hardly any money on my city.
So the correlation that exists between obviously the amount of development and business that's being created in Auckland, and National supporting that,
Nationals are very.
And we're not here to make any kind of commentary on the inside of relationships in terms of what exists between government and business. But at the same time, what you are saying is that conservatively under a Labor government, for our great city Wellington, we get some more money spent around this place.
But vice versa as well. National is absolutely brilliant at policies and stuff around housing too. So you can't go one way for the other.
Well, I mean, both of those governments are very centre.
They're both
the policies,
basically the same. You get a little slightly left, slightly right.
The policies are a little bit slightly left, slightly right. Hey, the other thing, there was another stat that you had that you were talking to me before, and I think we were talking about, was it turnover? Yeah.
Turnover, yeah. Well, I mean, basically what we want to do on the show is because Labor's happened.
Yeah. Okay? It's happened. It's happened.
Get over it.
So if you're still waking up today and you're going out there and you're saying,
But basically what we're going to do on the show is show positivity to what's going to happen, because there's no point sitting around, as Chip, crying, going, I would have made so much money without Labor being in, because it's not going to happen, it's going to be happening. So, got some stats here for you. Between 1990 to 99 with the national government. Yeah. Okay, the average monthly property sales.
That's what I was going for. The average monthly property sales.
6,661. Okay? Jeez.
Yeah.
Bloody a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
Labor?
Yes.
7,650.
There's that increase again. Now we're getting a correlation and a trend between building consents. Yep.
And national. The JK era, the best that's everyone ever seen. People are quite short-sighted as well, because they believe that now is the best time, and they go, 6,168, lower than their last national reign.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy times.
Well, I mean, so what you're saying as well is that, hey, everyone's out there saying the end is nigh, everything's going to go to shit, basically.
Yep.
But now, as has always happened in previous times, now there still has to be an opportunity out in the marketplace, whether you're an investor, a developer maybe, or if you're just interested in how to get into your first home.
Yeah.
These policies don't necessarily, I mean, it's not that they take away opportunity. If anything, you just have to find that opportunity. Would you say that?
Yeah,
if I was an investor, if I was looking at it, because a lot of people are coming in, like you said before, we're on those groups and they're all there.
Yeah.
And there is a
I think especially in Wellington and Christchurch, just give it a couple of months, things will settle.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll settle and we'll get back to business.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to go up in the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Notoriously though, Labor is a
great word of the day.
Labor is a massive on inflation.
Yeah.
Okay, National is very low on inflation, as you can see the last couple of years. Well, the whole reign of 9 years, they've whipped down that inflation as soon as they took over.
Kept it right down.
It's been at 1.52%.
Yeah.
First time recently, they would actually crept up to 2.5.
Yeah, for sure.
And you'll probably see a rise going more and more. So, as a property investor, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be watching that inflation.
So you're going to be keeping a good eye on inflation.
As soon as that inflation gets out of whack, you're going to see interest rates going up, house prices going up, food to eat going up, everything going up.
Essentially,
the more stuff you own there, the more stuff you own, what's inflation going to do to it? It's going to put it through the roof. So
okay, the more stuff you own in terms of the more stuff you own from an asset point of view, everything. Because when we talk about inflation, in its most simplistic form, we're talking about the Big Mac that costs $5 today. After inflation, is going to cost $6.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, what you have to do to be able to afford that Big Mac at $6 is you need a wage increase.
Yep.
Now, when wage increases, happen, sooner or later you get a little bit more money going into the local economy. And hey, what do you do with that money? Do you put it into housing? What would I do now?
And that's the thing. It's a good point.
Like you said.
Yeah, good point to bring up under this Labor government from 99 to 08. There's mass amounts of inflation.
Yeah.
Ridiculous inflation. You saw interest rates get to 9%.
When you that's a bloody good point though, because interest rates is another, and we'll come back to that. But
and when you look at that though, in terms of inflation, okay, so the guy who's doing very well in his job, making $200,000,
yes,
makes more money because capitalism and the way that the country's been going now.
Yeah.
He's got more money to go spend on his $2 million house.
And
under a Labor government,
he's got a Maserati in Auckland.
Yeah, Maserati in Auckland, Porsches in Auckland. Under a Labor government though, you're talking about everybody making more money. So then you're looking at people buying their first homes. And you can see right here, we've got the figures. 7,637 a month sold because of inflation.
Because of inflation.
I'm not saying it's good or bad, but you've got to be looking at the positives and negatives.
I like the bipartisan view that you've had, but what you're saying is you're saying that under a Labor government, if we're talking about trends in terms of the housing market as well, we're talking about a distribution of wealth, which is stronger under a Labor government because it's giving more people opportunity.
And match with inflation as well, because they have more money and they need to spend that money as well.
Yeah.
So you've got to be looking out for that. You've got to look, the positives and the negatives. One of the big positives for investors as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's going to be a lot of investors watching the show and they're going to be saying, what do I do now?
So if you're talking about wins.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot more money that goes into that.
Okay, because we're talking about
beneficiaries
social policy now.
Yeah. Beneficiaries that will be renting and they might get $300 a week. Well, there should be an increase in the next budget.
Well, there should be.
Okay, under Labor.
Yep.
And then they go out and they either invest obviously the rentals.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can spend more money on their rent as well. So there's a positive there for some people who are holding cash flow properties.
For sure. And so Housing New Zealand, they're going to get more borrowing power from the local government as well, because there's going to be more money going into social.
I won't even talk about this, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Housing New Zealand now that Labor's got in.
Really?
It's a very good point there.
Do you think they're going to shake it up a little bit? Because do you think Housing New Zealand, this is just opinion based, but do you think Housing New Zealand in the past, under the national government, they've cut down a lot of houses, they've cut a lot of ground for new developments? Do you think that there's going to be a change with the new Labor government coming in?
There will definitely be a change under the policies of what they're doing with the housing over the last 9 years, because it was despicable. But
great point. Great point, mate. Hey, the other thing that I wanted to talk about as well is, look, there's no secrecy around the fact that leading into this election, Jacinda took most of her flack on policy surrounding actual figures, actual numbers. There was a lot of generic comments that were made throughout the election time. Capital gains is one of those things that came up. We talked about it on episode 2 in terms of a little bit. We talked about the bright line test. They've said that they might increase that from 2% to 5%. Is this something that investors? You're an investor. Is this something that you're worried about in terms of the capital gain tax going up? I know that your strategy has always been to hold them, long term. But there's people out there flicking property. Is it going to have a massive effect? Is it something that they should be thinking about?
Winston Peters.
Yeah.
I believe one of his negotiations would have been to not have capital gains tax and water tax.
In terms of tactics, because, those were two policies that he talked about.
He would not let them get through as well, and especially the water tax being farmers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's one of the main things that national supporters very worried. The capital gains tax, I'm going to lose all my money.
Yeah.
I don't know how many houses people are actually buying to be getting this capital gain tax that
they're still not talking about the family home, though. Let's be clear. She's still not talking about the family home, or is there loose conversation around it? Might be the family home.
Winston Peters wanted to have
bright line test. Winston Peters would never let.
Considering he got 5 out of 9 ministers, I don't think he'd be getting a capital gains tax anytime soon.
4 out of 9.
Was it 4 out of 9?
He got 4. He got 4 ministers.
It was 5 anyway.
Yeah. It might have been 5.
You could be right.
I tell you what.
But bloody, this beer is amazing,
mate. We've been. Should we try? Should we dip into the next one? Should we dip into the next one? We'll go for a dabble. And you know what? You always pour me a drink, mate, on the show.
Yeah,
and it's been a while since I poured you one.
Yeah. I've actually. While you pour that, I've actually got a couple.
You got some facts for me. You got some facts for me.
Yeah. So since 1992, the 10 highest turnover months.
Yes.
Of real estate in New Zealand.
We're talking volume here.
Bit of a quiz. Who were they under? So if you name
I don't know this
percentage wise. So 7 out of 10 was out of National, 6 out of 10 was out of Labor, 5 out of 10. What do you reckon?
We're talking the what years? Give me the
years.
From
1992.
From 1992
to now. What was the highest turnover years in real estate?
National.
Yeah, but all national. Every single one was national.
Oh, the highest turnover.
What do you reckon? 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
I'd say 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
To national.
Yeah.
Well, what we've got here is 10 out of 10 to Labor.
10 out of the 10 months go to Labor.
They all go to Labor. The highest amount of houses sold in the last...
Since 1992, so we're talking 25 years, the last 25 years, the government that holds the most turnover, the top 10 months is by Labor.
Yeah.
I would not have gone with that. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can see that after the trends we were talking about earlier. But
well, these are just stats, mate. And the lowest volume of months.
Yeah.
Okay, so
now it's going to be national.
Under a government since 1992.
Yeah.
If you're talking between say if there was 6 out of 10 of the months were Labor, what do you reckon?
Well, now I feel embarrassed because I got the first one wrong.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm a perfectionist. But I'll go for, as Hoskins, I'll go for national.
Yeah, but how many? out of the 10.
Out of the top 10?
Yeah. So how many of those?
5.
So 8 out of the 10 lowest sales volumes in the last 27 years, not 25 because you can't do maths.
No. Hang on. 92 to 2017, that's 25 years.
Oh, thanks. I can't do maths.
You can't do maths.
8 out of 10.
So 8 out of 10. So, okay. So, while everyone is crying and moaning about the fact that we're about to jump into the ever-increasing doom of the apocalypse, now that this government has been formed, we have forgotten to remember, in terms of history and trends, in terms of a real estate podcast, which is what this is, that under a Labour government, the top 10 months for turnover have happened since 92 to where we are now. And the 8 out of 10 worst months in history, or whatever it is, and that
national
has been under national.
That does take into account, though, that national...
Does that create some optimism out in the marketplace?
Should bloody
You'd hope so.
Yeah, it'd have to. But, yeah, so it's bloody good.
There's some pretty good facts there, mate. You've really done the research this time around.
Right.
I also like I appreciate the suit today. We really suited it up. Yeah. How's the beer going? I've poured your drink now.
It's pretty good.
We're on to the Pilsner.
Pale ale, this one.
Is this the Pale Ale? Oh, we've had the Pilsner, we're on to the Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Always enjoy the Pale Ale. Sprig Fern also do a very good organic red wine.
Do they?
I think it's the T...
Is it a Pinot Noir?
The T... It's a Pinot.
Okay.
If you've got allergies, like egg, dairy, things like that, you'll be fine. I think. Maybe not the dairy. Anyway, hey, I really want to get into the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and it is on my... Right, we talked about capital gains. I really wanted to talk to you about a few of the comments that I've seen out in the marketplace, Rupert, and, episode 1 of this, we said that we wouldn't, come across as a real estate agent show.
Yes.
Where we're talking about. But the fact of the matter is that we are both real estate agents. That's where we come from.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you knew that.
Okay.
Look, we're in the industry, we're in the business as well. We were talking about this before, and there was an article that was released last week by Stuff, and there was actually 3 articles that were released by Stuff last week.
A lot of articles coming out last week.
A lot of articles coming out. And basically, to summarise that headline, under a Winston government, or if Winston wins, or whatever it is, real estate agents should be worried. In fact, the other article that came out said that over 50% of real estate agents in New Zealand are going to get out of the industry.
Yeah, that was bloody ruthless, wasn't it?
That's a pretty big call, obviously.
No, I've actually got the exact quote.
Have you got the exact quote?
Yeah, I put it.
You got the exact quote?
Real estate agents won't be pleased at Peter's choice, but this was probably a party that had to run its course. Basically, I don't like to be thrown into this greedy little mischievous thing because we're real estate agents and all we care about sales. But at the same time, if you look at the history and things, we're probably going to do more sales, more volume, and the property investors and the developers, bar Auckland, is probably going to do damn well through this government. Absolutely,
and I think the thing is, and I want to come back to what you were saying before. I want to table Auckland, table a couple of those comments. But what I want to talk to you about is in terms of the real estate industry as well. And you said something before that kind of really hit home, and that is you don't like to be put into this industry where basically we've been nominated as a particular profession. Now, I can't speak for all real estate agents, neither can you, but we've been nominated into a particular profession where the commentators have said, we're going to be ousted, or the agents are going to,
that's just from.
I mean, that's a pretty heavy comment to make.
No, that's right. It's just from a.
I mean, hey, it doesn't make any effect on me, but I'd like to.
It's just journalism. It's just from a volume point of view, because if the volume does drop, then there's going to be some agents leaving the market. But yet again, it's just Auckland. Auckland's absolutely dropping sales left, right, and centre. It's a boom and bust market. So if you're in that, you got to realise that you are in that market. Yeah. And it's going to be tough times out there.
Well, I think the other thing as well is, and this is something that we were talking about before, is that alongside all of that, and we know a lot of good agents, and I would say that a lot of the good agents that we know, would you say that they would? I mean, would you say that the government is going to have an effect on their attitude towards making an income or towards providing good service in the marketplace?
I think if you look,
they dictated by the government?
I think if you look at any good business person, agent, politician. Yeah, not so much politicians. Maybe not the politicians, but both ways if you get ousted.
Says the real estate agents.
Yeah, but if you look at really good business people, whatever happens in life and whatever happens in politics, there's always advantages and disadvantages.
Absolutely,
but you got to look positively because it's happened.
Yeah,
and the best agents, the best business people, they're looking at all the advantages about Labour.
Correct.
hey, I'm not saying if I voted for National or Labour, but at the end of the day, Labour's in.
Yeah.
So you may as well look at everything here. And just like the stats we brought up today, do you think that we're sitting here going, oh, this could have happened or couldn't have happened, could have happened? We're just looking at what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Or what might happen and try to make the most of it. So,
and I think rightly so. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's talking realistically. You're a business owner. You've got a portfolio of properties, more than 5, as we've said in the past. Throughout the conversation, the dialogue of this podcast, we've always remained optimistic in terms of the advice that we're giving out into the marketplace. But I think that in times like this, where there is so much negativity, and so much, especially in our industry, and I open the can on it as well, so much negativity in terms of where it's going, where the ones that will, not necessarily use the word prevail, because that's cliche, but the ones that will continue to do well, and I agree, I think there will be agents that will drop out of the marketplace, but I think that those agents that do drop out, they're not educated enough to be able to see what you're talking about, which is the opportunity, not only in the history and the trends,
I don't think we're
but
talking
making
about
the best out of the situation.
I don't think we're talking about the agents, we're going to talk about business owners in terms of
business owners,
business
agents. I mean,
property.
if you're an agent, you are a subcontractor, you are a business owner, and you sit. But I agree with what you're saying.
I think Wellington's in for a bloody good ride, to be honest.
Oh, I think that this is. I mean, look, I look at it. I look at the political aspect of this, and I look at it in just such a magical way. You've had Winston, a very seasoned politician who's looking at legacy at the moment, and to be honest, if he was gonna be on the last chapter or third to last chapter of his book, picking the Labour government, or siding with that government, that's a huge call that he had to make. And I think that if you look at the history as well as the housing side of things in political history for New Zealand, there's always been dramatic change when what hasn't been expected has happened. The longer years, even going back to the Muldoon years, the Bolger years, Jenny Shipley. I mean, look at the last time Winston Peters was the Deputy Prime Minister. He's probably going to, if he takes that role, if he's taken that role,
I suppose
it's going to be something completely different. But there's always opportunity out in the market.
Probably the last thing we'll kind of add on for the whole season.
Whole season, mate.
Probably the last thing we'll end on is, because it's quite topical, as we say.
It's a topical topic. Wow.
If you're worried about the government,
yes.
Okay. Or if you're worried about the interest rates,
yes.
Or you're worried about the capital gains.
Or you're worried, yes.
Go back to episode 2.
Yes. Yes.
Recheck what you're looking about and go on the fundamentals of real estate, and that's returns.
What a fantastic
All right, because at the same time you go, oh, this might happen, this might happen, this might happen. At the same time, if people need to rent your home for X amount, and your property's worth X amount, it doesn't really matter because you've got your yield there and you're making money.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're worried about, I need to sell X, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, you're already in the unknown. And that's when people freak out. Yeah. Because they're a National supporter, or they're a Labour supporter, or they're an ACT supporter, or they're a Green supporter. Cut out all of the worry. Yeah. And just go on the fundamentals of investment.
And just think about it from a practical, basic level of investing.
Too bloody easy it sounds like.
I know it's not easy at all. Oh, here we
It's not easy. It's not actually easy.
No, absolutely.
But anyway, should we top it off with all the bloody supporters we've had this year? Do you know the beers that we had?
Yes, I know that the beers that we've had Panhead. We had Panhead.
Thanks, Panhead.
I want to give thanks to Panhead. Kaiser Brothers.
We've had
brilliant beer. Good George Brewers.
Good George was a bloody good drop.
Came to Parrot Dog came in. Garage Project, not really.
No, they came in.
Garage Project. I mean, we drank some Garage Project. We definitely drank some Garage Project. It was a fantastic episode. Yeah. Balin's,
great drop.
I don't know if I did, but anyway, they were in there as well. And of course, the one and only Sprig and Fern. We did a big call out to Double Brown.
One good thing about the Sprig and Fern though, that we've actually got a couple of leaders to go here, so that could be quite interesting what happens. But anyway, one thing I would like to say,
it could be an interesting Friday night. It's the last.
Just got a quick sign off there to fuck you, Double Brown.
Yeah, Double Brown.
We asked for bloody beer the whole time. All these guys stepped up to the plate. Bloody good beers. Bloody good sponsors.
Double Brown.
They're too big now. They're all DD breweries.
We've got too big now. Can't give the little guy a beer or two. Yeah. So Double Brown not coming to the show. But you were saying before, that you've been talking to producer Mike Lamb. There's a couple guests coming up on season 2.
Yeah. Oh, we actually went for our little schedule next year because obviously we've brung season 1, it went all right. We've got at least 850 followers there on Facebook.
Mate, I'll tell you what, 860.
But we've actually locked in, and we got a bit of a budget off Papa Lou there, the old man.
Papa Lou.
We got a bit of a budget to get him one celebrity in episode 3, Mike Hosking.
I tell you what I love about the Mike Hosking's choice.
You must be impressed. I don't know.
No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
Of your...
We're talking about January, February when we come back season 2. That gives me a couple of months. I wouldn't say like me. I'd say that would be mirror a certain attitude, and that is that he calls it down the line. Okay,
Does, yeah.
One of New Zealand's most bipartisan journalists.
But actually, what's really great about that is the Hoskins coming on episode 3 because he's got a massive portfolio. I think it's in Taupo. He was telling me he's got a few properties in Rotorua.
He'd seem like a Queenstown man as well if he'd be down in Queenstown.
No, he does. He's got a portfolio in Queenstown.
A chateau in Queenstown.
And he owns 5 Ferraris, I think. And
that's right. And we're going to talk about how
he homes them in Taupo. But anyway, he's coming on to let us know what the kind of investment strategy
what his strategy was.
Yeah, what his strategy was to get the Ferrari.
That's going to be a great show.
It's going to be a great show.
Really looking forward to that show.
3. But anyway, well, it was a bloody good time talking to you.
Always enjoy your time. Never, as I've always said, never a pleasure. I mean, always a pleasure, never a chore, but somewhere around there. Hey, I want to thank you for 8 episodes. I want to give a big shout out to the one and only producer of this show. That is Mike Lamb. Outstanding.
He's bloody good, isn't he?
God, he's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already racked up those celebrities to come see us on the next season. Rupert, you've given good, honest advice, as you've done, no doubt, your whole career, and I appreciate that as well. And I'd just like to sign off by saying I'll see you on season 2.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.